Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Walthers has recently released another run of their EMD E9 units, and this is the EMD E9AA unit set, and these are equipped with DC, DCC, and ESU LOKSound. These are CB&Q locomotives. So we'll take a look and see what you get in the box, starting right now. So these boxes here have a flap at the end. Just pull out styrofoam case. On the back is a manual we'll cover in a second here. Plastic blister packaging cradled in hard foam packaging. As far as the manual goes, as I said, this is equipped with ESU LOKSound. It's got 6 lighting outputs, 16 horns, 2 bells. It talks about DC and DC operation on this page. Additionally, there is another piece of paperwork included, and that is an exploded parts diagram. And it shows all the components of this locomotive. If you need to order parts, you can do so, shell removal instructions, etc. Now this first sheet does open up. It was a little stuck, but it talks about the functions. There's 11 functions listed on the function mapping, and it also talks about configuration variables, resetting the decoder, sound options, etc. These locomotives are identical, so I will just unbox one of them. These are in the Walthers Proto series, so these are very high detailed models. There's some pilot pieces and some panel inserts there included in the parts bag. Locomotive itself, really nice finish to that metallic CB&Q scheme. Let's get zoomed in and take a closer look. As you can see, there's the A and the B unit. Only differential between these two units that I'm aware of is the little A and B indicators on the number boards. And you'll see them on different Zephyrs and such, and we'll be able to pull those with some Zephyr cars here in a bit. But just a beautiful metallic finish, a beautiful scheme really. And this is just one of many schemes that are available, and they're also available in Union Pacific Heritage units. Those are the E units, E9ABA units that were used for the Union Pacific excursions, I should say. But we have the CB&Q, the E9s. I do have some in the works because they are sold out, so I'm purchasing some from a private modeler. But let's take a look at these units. Inside there are cab figures separately applied, windshield wipers, and windows for that matter. Dual LED lights. There's your coupler. It's a Walthers Protomax coupler there. All the brake detail, including the cylinders that pressurize air for the brakes on the wheels. There's crew entry ladder, E9 designator there underneath the cab window, wind deflector, horns. You do have a pair of winterization hatches over some radiator fans front and rear. Beautiful metallic finish, Burlington written on the side. Also, these grills are etched metal and they don't have any bows in them, which is good, because these grills on some other models, they can lose their glue and kind of pop out and bow out, and I don't see that on this model at all. Really nicely done with however they applied those etched metal grills. As we roll to the rear, you can see separately applied grab irons, the diaphragms which are sprung, so you can get some tension there in between units, lift lugs right above the diaphragms, rear light, accessory hoses and brake hoses, a coupler cut lever there, and a rear coupler. From here you can see a really good look at all the detail of the roof and how it pops. The radiator fans, the winterization hatches, lift lugs, rivet detail, exhaust, and more. You can see up there towards the front, an antenna and the horns as well, which I'll show you on the other end of things. I'm keeping both of these up here so you can just see kind of a 2-for-1 deal. You've got these little portholes. These are little access for the crew to kind of walk around inside of the prime mover area and look out the window to see where they're at or whatever the case is. But also a crew entry door, middle of the locomotive here, and with 2 separately applied grabs, one on each side. Fuel tank detail. You've got these air tanks here and here as well. Really highly detailed, but these are Walthers Proto, so they are the top end line for detailed models. As we look back at the nose, you can see the nose adorned with separately applied grabs. There's 5 of them there. Classification lights, the Burlington Route logo there, and we already mentioned the separately applied windshield wipers. There's also horns and an antenna. See the antenna better here with the background, but that's just a single antenna on each unit. And this unit head-on gives you a good look at the wind deflectors, all 4 in place, no broken parts on either one of these locomotives. So with that said, there's a quick 360, and we will get to some other tests. We're going to weigh these units separately and then together. 510 grams per unit, that's 1 pound, 2.0 ounces, very robust. 18 ounces total. You double it and you double the weight, 36 ounces, 1 kilogram and 20 grams, or 2 pounds, 4.0 ounces. Okay, we're going to do an NMRA wheel gauge test. This helps determine NMRA compliance, and they are all good. There's also a look at the underside, as you can see there. Up now is NMRA coupler height with this KD coupler height gauge. It looks to be pretty close to an exact match. The other unit was in gauge. This specific track does not like my coupler height gauge that much. That also appears to be in gauge. In terms of correct height, I should say. So good to go on all 4 units with the coupler height and fully NMRA compliant. Alright, first order of business is to fire up the prime mover on these, which for the ESU LOKSound decoder is F8. Nice incandescent look to those number boards. Seems pretty evenly lit. Classification lights, same, but I'll show you some more lighting in the dark. There's the headlight on. Let's listen to some sounds. The bell. Here's the horn. Keep in mind there's 16 variations of horns that can be controlled through CVs. We're just playing how you get it out of the box. F3 is coupler crash. F4 dynamic brake, which probably is going to be moved to here. Hear the whine of the dynamic brake fans. 5 is the warning light, which we'll cover lighting again in the dark, but that's that top light there. It's going to flash. 6 would be ditch lights, which, if equipped, they are equipped on those Union Pacific executive units. F7's manual compressor. F8 is prime mover startup and shutdown, as I mentioned on ESU. F9 is drive hold. So hitting F9 at a certain speed will maintain that notch level no matter what. F10 is independent brake, and F11 is auxiliary light. So we'll get into some darkness so we can see the lighting features before we move to operation. Here's the units in the dark. Got them moving here. When we stop, you can see the classification lights, the number board lights, the headlight, and the emergency light. It even kind of has a little bit of a cab glow in there. I don't think that is a separate light, but hard to tell in these low light conditions in the camera exposure, but both the headlight and the emergency light do have 2 twin beam separations. So I can show you that in the light, and then you've got the classification lights, of course. So that is the nighttime or lighting effects. Beautiful yellow incandescent appearance, which these would have incandescent bulbs in them, even though the model has LEDs. They replicate the incandescent color perfectly. Here you can see the twin beam headlight pretty easily. At least the top emergency light. I'll turn the headlight off and you could probably see the twin beam recesses at least. But they are twin beam, so just wanted to show you that as promised. Alright, let's look at slow speed control. I'm going to move these at 1 speed step. Hear the prime mover notch up a little bit. Getting a very slight crawl, but it doesn't look like it's hardly moving, so we'll go to 2 speed steps. Very, very slight crawl. It's possibly the slowest slow speed control I've ever seen. It's good though, because you don't see a whole lot of jerking. That's just crazy good motor control at slow speeds. There's 3, 4, and 5. So at 5 speed steps, I'm going to put on the AccuTrack speedometer, because if it's 1, it's going to error out because it'll take too long. It may even take too long at 5 speed steps. As you see, I have a second unit behind that. I'm testing something, and that's the gap between the 2 units, because I want to know if these are speed matched well out of the box, and from what I can see, this gap is maintaining itself. So the speed matching outside of the box without any additional tweaking is really good. So at 5 speed steps, we should be getting a reading, and it's 0.7, so that's got to be a record for the slowest speed control I've ever seen. And again, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing, because that means that you're able to operate these locomotives at really slow speeds, and it looks more realistic on your railroad by being able to do that. And then as you see that second unit coming up here, that gap is maintaining itself. I'm going to go in reverse. These reverse lights are functional. I can show you that as we reverse. So here we're in reverse. Again, the gap is maintaining itself for these units. And you've got some really good slow speed control, and you can see some of the details again of this unit and how well detailed it is. Well, that's going to wrap up our look of the Walthers E9AA set. This is a CB&Q schemed locomotive set, but again, keep in mind there are other options out there, including Union Pacific and other variations of the E9s that Walthers has produced. This is, again, just the latest run with LOKSound. So if you're secondhand market or looking at hobby shops, you'll be able to find possibly even previous runs of this locomotive. And definitely, if you see the Union Pacific versions, pick those up, and the CB&Q versions are just beautiful. I'd pick those up too. They are selling out pretty quickly. So with that said, everybody gets on to me for having too many trains, but I was able to pull out a California Zephyr set, which will go good with these locomotives in a run-by, and we'll leave you with a couple run-bys. Great locomotives is my final thought on these. Solid, no broken parts. Good pricing, great lighting features, sound is excellent, smooth operation at slow speed steps, and really all around a great drive. Just a well-executed model. So we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Check out the run-bys and take care.